Cyberica is Kfir's newest survival game, and in addition to having a modern theme, it looks like it's going to have multiplayer without the risk of getting raided. This answers the two biggest complaints that Last Day on Earth fanatics have about Frostborn, but here are the 5 reasons why you should not play it yet. The first reason that I don't think you should play Cyberica yet is because it's only available in a few countries. Now you can access it by downloading Ireland VPN, and then while that VPN is active, creating a new Google account, and then you have to clear your Google Play storage. You can then search for Cyberica on the Google Play Store while that VPN is still active. But this of course clutters up your phone and is a lot of work for a very unfinished game. This brings us to the second reason why I do not think you should play Cyberica yet, because the game is still an unfinished alpha test state, which is really rough. Buttons don't always work the way they should, and obstacles are often really boxy, which can kind of make it difficult to play. And when this causes you to die and you lose the durability on your best weapons, then it can be extremely frustrating, which is probably why Kfir is making it only available in a few countries right now. The whole point of an alpha test is for the devs to get some feedback on some of the mechanics of their game, but it's not designed to be the full game. Which brings us to the third reason why I do not necessarily recommend downloading and playing Cyberica yet. And that is because there's not a lot of content yet. And if you wait and you wait patiently, they will be able to add a lot more content. I don't know exactly how the devs are planning to do it, but if it's anything like Frostborn, when we're playing this game, there's a lot of things that are really boxy about the game. You can see here in this racing game that, you can speed up how fast you go. So you can see here I'm changing lanes. It just switches. It's a real simple technique of switching lanes. This is kind of a lame aspect of the game, but if it's anything like Frostborn, what they're going to do is sometime when they're ready to global release, they're just going to replace this entire driving thing. They've never worked on it. They've never fixed it. They're just going to take it out and put in an awesome racing game that we love, and that we're going to be like, oh yeah, this is amazing. It's going to blow us away. And that's kind of what they did in Frostborn. They had all these things that we would kind of test. They let us test skills, and then all of a sudden they implemented this amazing class system, and they just imported better graphics, better skills, a way that the skills can interact with each other. It literally blew our minds. We had been playing an alpha test and we thought it was a good game. I mean, it had multiplayer. We thought, oh, this is a great game. And then all of a sudden they just poured it in. It just felt like a whole new game. It felt like we were playing a completely different game. And I think that that's what Cyberica is going to feel like. I feel like if Cyberica really is Kfir's next step, if they're really, I know a lot of you are excited about playing it because it's going to be that next step beyond Frostborn. It's not even close to that yet, but probably because what the devs are dealing with in the background are not necessarily what we're dealing with now. And so they're just testing things, testing mechanics. But right now you can see that a lot of what you can do in this game is, you go around in these zones and you look for the little chests that are around, and it's cool. It's a cool concept. It's a little bit different than the normal grinding that we're used to, where you go and get lots of different resources. You're really just kind of farming for these chests right here, which is definitely a different feel to the game, but it's kind of cool that the focus is on the chests. It's one thing that I've enjoyed about Last Day on Earth and Frostborn. It's fun to gather the resources, but to see what you get in those loot chests in the middle of the zone is always a really fun part. So this is kind of a cool concept, but that's pretty much it. There's this zone, and then there's a harder zone. But the true beauty of Cyberica is in the storyline. The storyline is just going to be, it seems like it's going to be amazing. They don't have a whole lot yet, but what we've seen so far, the storyline of Cyberica, it looks like that is going to be the way they designed this game. Is every step of the way you are following the storyline. There may be a little bit grinding in between some elements, and probably as we get higher level there'll be more grinding in between the storyline elements, but for the most part the game is going to be centered around a lot of storyline. But in reality, the content right now is very limited. I mean, you could probably get through the storyline in less than a week if you were a committed, even as a free-to-play player. Definitely as a pay-to-win player, you could just keep the disturbance levels down and you would have no problem just racing through the storyline. And it's a good storyline, but it really doesn't even get started yet. And then of course what a lot of us are excited about is that they plan to have true PvP with guns, which a lot of people didn't like Frostborn because it's got bows and it's got got magic, and people want guns, and they want modern technology when they're doing their PvP, and it looks like we're gonna have that. And our apartment doesn't look like it's anything it's not something you defend. There's no like walls, there's no ways of defending it. You just upgrade your apartment. And a lot of people, those are the two biggest complaints of Frostborn is I don't want to have to lose my base. I don't want to have to defend my base and lose my stuff that I've been grinding for. And so the devs took that out of Siberica, and they added PvP zones in theory. There are no death warrants. There is no PvP in the game yet. So all of this is content that they're going to be adding. And some of you might be like, well, I want to be part of the, the alpha test. So as soon as that PvP comes out, I can experience it and get good at it and work on it. And that may make sense. But right now, if they added PvP tomorrow, you'd only be like a few days behind everyone else. Even if they've been playing for months, they're not going to be that much farther ahead of you just because there's not a lot in the game yet. But even when these PvP zones come out, I don't necessarily think it will be time for people to play Siberica yet, because the fifth reason is the population is going to be fairly small. When Kafir first invited us to play Frostborn with them, we got on and we were like, this looks like just another copy of the game, because I'd go to a zone and I'd be like, great, I'd farmed a zone. And I didn't even realize it was PvP because there was only 100 people playing the game and they weren't on at the same time that I was on, or they weren't in that zone the same time that I was in that zone. Now, obviously, Siberica won't be that low in the amount of people that are playing the game because it's already available in some countries. So you'll definitely have some interactions, but Kafir is not going to be advertising it. They're not going to be pushing for a big player base in those countries because it's an alpha test. And so even though there will be some people and we can have a small community, and the people in Frostborn during the closed beta, we had our few thousands that we enjoyed playing Frostborn together, but it was nothing compared to what it is now in global, to where it's like, no, there are going to be people here, especially if you're a low level in Frostborn right now. There are tons and tons of people playing the game, and you get to experience a lot of PvP and a lot of new people. So you're not going to be really experiencing a ton of that in Siberica until they release it onto the global market and they're advertising and trying to get a lot of people. And in my opinion, PvP games are more fun when there's more people, because even if the population is high enough for, let's say, the zone not to be dead, but there's not enough people to match you with the person that is exactly your level or have the exact same amount of gear with you, then you're going to either be playing someone way lower level who's kind of an easy kill, or you're going to be playing someone who's way better than you and you're kind of the easy kill, and that's not as fun. So more people makes PvP games more fun. So those are the 5 reasons that I don't think you should play Siberica yet, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be interested in this game. If this truly is Kafir's next big project, I think they're going to make it into an awesome game. And I know that a lot of my fellow Last Day on Earth YouTubers that weren't quite as into Norse mythology or bows and swords and magic are really excited about Siberica because they want a multiplayer Last Day on Earth with guns and technology. So my recommendation for those of you who are interested in Siberica is to subscribe to a YouTuber that is also interested in Siberica so that you can get updates on how the game is progressing. I know that Rezbach in particular has told me that he's really interested in the game, so I put a link to his channel up there, and I'm also going to be following it to see if Kafir can produce their next big thing. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.